Here are three stocks that have seen the most buying from members of Congress in the last 90 days. Let's get started. Thanks for joining me today, Chris. We've heard recently about the trades that are being made by Paul Pelosi, husband of Congressional Representative Nancy Pelosi. So I think that's kind of what sparked our conversation that we're going to have today. But we are going to take a look at three stocks that have seen the most buying from members of Congress in the last 90 days. And the reason we're talking about this is because generally speaking, these are the people they only buy stocks for one reason, and that's because they're anticipating that they're going to go up. So to start, Chris, can you quickly kind of tell us where investors can easily find this information?
Sure, Lacey. This is a interesting tool that MarketBeat has added, and what it allows investors to do is keep track, not necessarily in real time, but in pretty close to real time, of what members of Congress, what stocks they're buying and what stocks they're selling.
Mm-hmm.
That can give individual investors a sense of what legislation might be coming down the pipe, or what information they may be receiving in classified briefings that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Insider trading is kind of a hard thing to prove. It's kind of it gets kind of cloudy, but this is a tool that can help retail investors maybe level the playing field a little bit. So let me show you what we're talking about here. Okay, so under the financial calendars tab on the MarketBeat website, you'll see this area called Congressional Data. And this is a sortable screener that you can click on. For example, I can go for most bought stocks. And this shows the top congressional buying stocks. That means the stocks that most members of the House, or the stocks that the members of the U.S. House of Representatives and Senate are buying the most. And like many of the MarketBeat screeners, you can sort it by time period. So 90 days, you can do it as recently as in the last 7 days, or all the way out to a year. Mm-hmm. You can do it by political party. You can do it by stock sector. So if you're only interested in stocks that are in the technology sector, you can click on that and it'll show you that. You can do it by market cap and market sentiment and even analyst ratings. It's a neat tool that MarketBeat provides. The other thing that this tool does allow you to do, as I said, it not only does the most bought, but the most sold. It also shows you the members of Congress. So you can actually go in and check to see what your individual congressional representatives and senators, what stocks, if any, they are buying and or selling. Investors always have reasons to sell stocks, and congressional representatives and senators are no different than that. They can sell stocks for many reasons. We're all human beings. We all have lives. Mm-hmm. But there's usually only one reason they're buying them, and that's that they expect to go up. And that's why this tool can be really interesting for MarketBeat subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for showing us that, Chris. I will go ahead and link that. Comment down below if you need help navigating that tool. We're here to help. But let's get into the three stocks we're talking about today, Chris. Sure. Number one on your list is Palo Alto Networks. Multiple members of Congress were interested in this one, right? So what is sticking out to them, do you think?
Well, I think what sticks out about Palo Alto is really simply cybersecurity is going to be a huge issue. And it's running right alongside artificial intelligence. As artificial intelligence applications grow and artificial intelligence becomes more intuitive, you're going to have just as much of a need for cybersecurity to keep up with it, to help keep out the bad actors. Because as we know, artificial intelligence is it's only as good for now as the information that's being put into it. So if you have bad actors training the AI can produce things that can be harmful. That's why we're going to be in need of cybersecurity. It's a growing industry. I would believe that's why, again, members of Congress are looking to get in on it.
Are there any other considerations here that investors should have in mind when they're considering and evaluating this stock as a potential investment?
For Palo Alto Networks, this is the gold standard sort of for cybersecurity companies. So this is the company that it's a large cap company. It's basically a blue chip stock. It's not going to be one that's going to grow spectacularly because, again, it's a very mature company and it's the leader in the sector. but at the same time, it's the leader in the sector for a reason.
Mhm.
In fact, I just wrote an article in MarketBeat this week about how Palo Alto is the company that United Health Group is using to help combat a black cat cyber attack on one of the companies in their network.
Mhm. Okay, well, moving along here, next on the list is Apple, and we actually just covered this stock on the channel, so go ahead and check that out. I will actually link that above here right now. So click on that if you want to head to that video. But Chris, even though Apple hasn't been getting much love in 2024, that isn't stopping them from being one of the top stocks that's being purchased by members of Congress. So in the last 90 days, there have been 3 separate purchases by 3 different members. Chris, what do we need to know?
So if you're looking for evidence of insider trading, Apple's probably a poor example because the stock hasn't been doing that well over the last 90 days. But I think you have to, again, take the larger view here. Apple is one of the most widely held stocks by institutional investors. So it's going to move the market. You could possibly say that some of these congressional insiders were thinking that the Vision Pro was going to move the market more. I'm thinking they're looking at it as more of a playing more of the long game here. Apple is going to have a developers conference in June. They're expected to announce AI enhancements for the iPhone operating system that coincidentally will probably only work if you have a version of the iPhone 11 or above. So that may encourage people like myself who have a more vintage iPhone to get off the fence and make that upgrade.
Okay, then there's gold, Barrick Gold to be specific. Analysts tend to believe that gold prices are going to be higher in late 2024 and into 2025 than they are today. But there's still kind of a murky case for gold going on. What are the arguments here, Chris?
So gold's going to be always a very polarizing topic for investors. Some believe in it very much. Others believe that it's a waste of time. The simple fact is, I'll throw out one number, Lacey, and that's $7 trillion. And that's how much money that the US government has spent in the past 12 months. And that number is simply unsustainable. There is a fiscal cliff that the United States is reaching. That's not hyperbole. That's just, it's unsustainable by money standards. And people see gold as being a safe haven. It's a place where you can go if you feel that the dollar is going to be devalued. Why might you feel the dollar is going to be devalued? Well, if the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates as they're widely expected to, perhaps as early as June, that's going to devalue the dollar. It's going to cause inflation to rise, and gold, just starts looking much more attractive. Barrick Gold is a mining stock. Mining stocks don't tend to do very well, especially when gold is not doing well. Mining stocks do terribly. But as gold is starting to appreciate in value, the miners are starting to look good. They're literally the pick and shovel way of getting into precious metals. And Barrick is one of the big names in the sector.
Okay, so as you just said, following along here, should investors follow along on this one, Chris? Is Barrick a good play for this sector?
Barrick Gold's very undervalued right now. And again, it's sort of like when you're looking at Palo Alto, it's a gold standard in the gold mining industry. If you were going to invest in a mining stock, Barrick's a really good choice for you. Again, it's a risky sector. Personally, I think if you're going to play precious metals, it's probably better just to invest in the metal itself, but people will disagree with me on that.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to today's discussion with us as we've talked about the stocks that are heavily favored by members of Congress in the recent months. Understanding these investment choices gives us kind of a unique insight into potential market movements. As we've seen, these choices can be quite telling. So go ahead and check out our free Congress stock trades tracking tool on marketbeat.com. Again, comment down below if you have any questions on how to use this tool. We're happy to help. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, Chris.